David Menzies for Rebel News here at the Jewish Russian Community Center in North Toronto. And you know, folks, in the world of pop music, typically the tunes are all about love. But way back when, the late, great Elvis Presley, he scored a #1 hit single with a song about mail delivery. Oh, yeah, check it out.
I gave a letter to the postman. He put it in his sack. Bright and early next morning, he brought my letter back. She wrote upon it, return to sender, address unknown, no such number, no such zone.
Alas and alack, Elvis's letters kept coming back because there was no such address, which brings me to the most curious case regarding a package that was sent here recently from the Jewish Russian Community Center in Toronto to the United States, which is to say, that came back as well. And you are not going to believe the reason. FedEx said the reason for the bounce back, if you will, was, quote, prohibited country of origin, end quote. Well, what exactly does that mean? We know that on the box was the name of the shipper, the Jewish Russian Community Center. We know that the description of what was in the package was prayer books, and the country of origin for the prayer books was the state of Israel. So is this some malicious employee at FedEx deciding to carry out, I don't know, an act of anti-Semitism by not fulfilling the delivery? Or is it now official FedEx policy that, I don't know, they've adopted the BDS movement? They are not going to facilitate shipments that have anything to do with Israel. How do you make sense of what's going on? Why was that parcel returned? They said because of prohibited country of origin, but what does that even mean?
First, when I saw the label with those words, I was shocked. Like, I couldn't believe that I see it with my eyes.
Yes.
Country of origin prohibited? How is that possible? Yeah.
And Rabbi Saltzman, that is the crux of the matter. It's a parcel going from Canada to the U.S. Last time I checked, our nations were at war in 1812, before Canada was even Canada. So it's not a safety issue. It's not two nations in conflict. What do you make of this prohibited country of origin as an excuse to return the parcel to your organization?
So it obviously makes no sense. I mean, this is a shipment from Canada to the U.S. of a simple package with a few books that were printed in Israel, and either it's a rogue manager, middle manager, or whatever it is, but something here is obviously terribly wrong. And I really hope that FedEx owns up to it and makes sure this never happens to anybody else.
Indeed, there is an investigation afoot, and hopefully by the end of the day, I'll hear back from FedEx Corporate. I was in touch with them earlier. But Zoya, you had a colleague here put in a call to FedEx customer service. Well, according to the customer service representative, this was completely kosher, denying this shipment.
Okay, thank you for holding. Okay, unfortunately, you are in. Okay, the country is in one of our prohibited countries. What we can do, I'm going to transfer you to customer service.
Just a second. What's your name, please, again?
Leslie.
Leslie, I just want to clarify the same as you record this conversation. I do the same. So the country is prohibited. What country is prohibited?
Israel.
Israel is prohibited in terms of what?
If you like, I can transfer you to customer service so they can explain this to you.
Just a second. No, but you started to tell me something. So Israel is prohibited in terms of what?
Since it's in war, we are unable to send packages that contain material from Israel.
Is it a policy of FedEx?
Yes.
And who told you, Leslie?
when we started work here, ma'am, they give us specific training for all this.
And for how many months you have this policy already? For how long?
I really, as I mentioned, I can transfer you to customer service, and they'll explain all this to you, ma'am.
Just a question. And you are not a customer service. You just when I called you, you said that you are a customer service, no?
No, ma'am. You called me. I'm from FedEx Ground.
FedEx Ground.
I'm in charge of updating invoices and helping you so your package won't get stuck.
So there you go. She said the country, meaning Israel, is one of our prohibitive countries. Rabbi, what do you make of that? I mean, I thought Israel is a nation in the Western world, certainly an ally of Canada and the U.S. What makes Israel, I don't know, a rogue state?
God gave the land of Israel to the Jewish people, to Abraham, and then to his son 4,000 years ago. Unfortunately, there are people that don't want to accept that. And sadly, we continuously get attacked time and again. And anti-Semitism keeps changing its face. And in its last form, it's in this so-called, we're not anti-Jewish, we're just anti-Israel.
The question arises, Rabbi, is this a colossal mistake, or is somebody lying here in terms of what FedEx corporate policy is when it comes to the state of Israel?
If I can tell you my gut feeling, my gut feeling is that the woman that we spoke to on the phone was saying the truth, that she was told it's prohibited, and that the FedEx spokesman is telling the truth when he says it's not company policy, and that there's some guy in the middle who took the law into his hands potentially and decided to make this the local policy of those that report to him, potentially. But one way or another, this is something that needs to get fixed so that nobody should ever have to deal with such a thing again. I mean, it's bad enough that the Jewish community drives on Bathurst and has to be intimidated by all the garbage that's taking place. That unfortunately hasn't been stopped over the last year. And we shouldn't have to deal with this.
And you know, folks, it's odd, isn't it? FedEx used to have a slogan in yesterdecade that went, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. Hey, we're not even asking for overnight shipment here. Just ship the darn package already. Keep politics and keep ideology out of the delivery business. Like I said, we have calls into FedEx corporate, and we're going to see what they have to say, hopefully by the end of the day. Stay tuned. Well, folks, the day after we visited the Jewish Russian Community Center, Zoya finally received a phone call from Julie, a representative with FedEx Canada. And she recorded that call. Several things were touched upon regarding the non-delivery of the package and what the customer service agent, Leslie, told Zoya. Here, let's throw to that audio right now.
I've had opportunity to listen to the phone calls that you spoke with our representative, and I'm trying to track down that representative because she did provide misinformation. And you know, if you want to discuss that, I can certainly discuss that with you.
Absolutely.
And then okay. So we have had previous embargoes with Israel, and because FedEx is a U.S. company, we have to follow the business.
When did you have embargo with Israel?
There was an embargo last year, but it was reopened.
It was a legal documentation that said the embargo with Israel. FedEx, it's on embargo with Israel. I have never heard that.
Okay, so we have to follow the government rules, and if they're not communicating with different companies, like right now, we are not allowed to ship anything to Russia, and that is what we would refer to as an embargo. So any shipments that are going to Russia would be held and returned back to the customer.
Okay.
Now, we have had in the past the same situation with Israel. It is open and we are shipping to Israel and accepting packages. Or sorry, let me rephrase that. We do ship stuff that is country of origin Israel. So your shipment shouldn't have been stopped. It should have went through to the recipient. And it was complete misinformation that our representative had.
There are many moving parts here. First of all, Julie is saying that this idea of not delivering packages to Israel, that is misinformation. And they are going to have an internal investigation regarding the employee's involvement in this misinformation and the return of the package. She said that there have been embargoes in the past against Israel, and embargoes that the United States had to follow, and because FedEx Canada is the branch plant of the American-based FedEx, they had to follow that. I am really not sure what embargoes she's talking about. As it turns out, today, the U.S. Senate is going to vote on a arms embargo against Israel. That's the most current thing I can think of, and I don't know how that vote is going to go. But again, that's an arms embargo, not a book embargo regarding printed material originating out of the state of Israel. And Julie also mentioned that they're going to follow up with legal. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that they're going to be advised whether they can penalize or even terminate the employees that clearly failed to carry out the corporate mandate of FedEx? Hey folks, I know you love it when Rebel News brings you the other side of the story. And hey, let's face it, what's happening with the Jewish Russian Community Center here in Toronto? The mainstream media, they don't give a tinker's damn about that, do they? Well, we do. But you know what? We need your help. Unlike the mainstream media trained SEALs, we don't receive a single nickel of government funding from the Justin Trudeau Liberals. So can you please go to rebelfieldreports.com. That's rebelfieldreports.com. And if you're able to, kindly make a donation.